Well then, this is definitely not the video that I was expecting to be coming out with. About 2 months ago, I came up with my first ever YouTube video on a little known game called Hunt Showdown and how it reignited my passion for gaming. In all honesty, I expected a half a dozen views from me compulsively hitting the refresh button to see if anyone was watching, but the community absolutely turned out, and the words of encouragement and the motivation was almost felt instantly, so I'm really appreciative, and as soon as I released it, I almost immediately started working on another one. However, getting back to my personal and work life, I saw the editing process and the recording process kind of hit a Mexican standoff, and the video wasn't developing super fast. Up to this point, I had heard about Marvel Rivals, but I pretty much dismissed it as just another title. It seemed gimmicky to me, but recently I saw Asmongold play it, and he seemed to be really enjoying it.
Like I'll lose every game. I'm gonna go.
As an average Jasmine viewer, I don't really bother with the creation of any original thought, so I took a break from Hunt and got into Marvel Rivals. Well, if we're really gonna do this, then we gotta do it right.
I got no cap. You should know that, yeah, that's fire. And then we gonna go something like, I got no cap. Get the message, I'm the president, you should know that. Take no L's, but I might just make you hold that. Made it up, I promise I would never go back. You should know that.
Yo chat, that was crazy, right? Please follow me on Twitch. Having this game installed is likely what a meth head feels like catching a whiff of glue first thing in the morning. It's infuriating realizing how addicting it is. I really want to go back and finish the other video I'm working on, but because I have to put this game down and go back into Hunt Showdown, I really can't bring myself to it. I can hear you typing away already about how the title of this video is clickbait, but hey, at the end of the day, I do have to tickle and fondle YouTube's algorithm a little bit to get you here, don't I? Anyway, one of my New Year's resolution for 2025 is to put a little bit less pressure on myself, and instead of just forcing that video to be ready when it isn't and pushing it past the finish line, I wanted to be creative still, so I'm here working on this thing. And let me just say, just because the game sucks because of its timing in my life, I'm having an absolute blast when I'm actually playing it. And who cares anyway? I mean, I could always get somebody else to play the other game for me and then stream it on X for some brownie points, can I?
This is Elon Musk.
So, for those of you that don't know what Marvel Rivals is, let me break it down for you. You're looking at a superhero team-based PvP game developed by NetEase. And let me just say that these guys, similar to the math head in my previously discombobulated analogy, absolutely cooked. And this video is turning out to really be addiction focused. While more and more Western studios tend to have their development process expand from diversity, equity, and inclusion, thinking, how can we make a game representing everyone that won't actually play it, NetEase just simply made a game for gamers. It also doesn't really make sense to say that the developers were simply allowed to cook. Looking at some of the cakes in this game, you would think they'd set up the studio in a bakery. And if that joke didn't work for you, let's just say there's a lot of players out there looking up and admiring the skyboxes.
What's happening, babe? Huh? Is this what you come here and get stuck into?
And although a part of Twitter seems to disagree, this isn't really the only selling point of this game. You're pretty much in denial if you don't think the developers absolutely found a way to a goldmine on this one. Not only did they implement that core hero feeling that you would find in Spider-Man or the Arkham series, but they've done it so in a live service model. All heroes are divided into 3 roles: vanguards, strategists, and duelists. Vanguards work on the front lines and they're basically your tanks. These beefed up heroes have extra health and typically set the tempo of a match. Strategists play the back line, acting as the team's healers. Their job is basically to keep everyone alive, and through their ultimates they can drastically shift the balance of a team fight. Finally, duelists are the primary damage dealers, responsible for finishing off enemies and causing as much disruption as possible to open up spaces for the team. Team composition varies depending on hero choices. A couple of examples. Out of the 9 vanguards, you could pick someone like Venom, who can soak up damage effortlessly while diving into the enemy backline, distracting healers and creating openings for his team. However, considering Venom's mobility, he does need a second tank to cover his absence from the front line. On the other hand, Doctor Strange can serve as a solo tank. He lacks mobility but compensates with a defensive heavy kit that allows him to absorb massive damage, shielding his team from all sorts of attacks. As for strategists, you have options like Mantis. She specializes in healing over time and can interrupt dives with crowd control, but a team relying solely on her for healing won't last long against a solid diver. In contrast, Adam Warlock offers instant healing and a more offensive kit but lacks mobility. Putting the two of them together creates a strong strategist composition. Choosing just one sets you up to fail. And sure, some strategists can solo heal, but not many, and it depends on the rank. Cloak and Dagger can pull it off, but against a solid team, you're not gonna do so well. Finally, you have the duelists. With 20 heroes, this is the most popular role. It's no surprise considering many of the fan favorites fall into this category. Spider-Man, Iron Man, Moon Knight, Wolverine, Black Panther, you get the idea. Mobility is high, health is low. And of course there are exceptions to the rule, but this gets you a general sense of the role. Now, since I don't get enough hate in my life and I enjoy making things much harder than they have to be, one of the first heroes that I picked up was Spider-Man.
Don't mess with the amazing Spider-Man!
He has a steep learning curve, but if you master his abilities and mobility, he becomes one of the most annoying divers to deal with. He can zip across the map in seconds, jumping right back into action even after getting downed. His manual web shooting lets you control every swing, making movement feel incredible. Offensively, he can pull enemies off the map, instantly removing a full health vanguard from the fight, but he can also dive the backline, one-shot a strategist, or ruin a flyer's day whether it's Iron Man or Human Torch. But playing Spider-Man means relying less on heals. You're constantly zipping around, so unless you're making pit stops at your backline and actively requesting them, you better chase those health packs. And speaking of Spider-Man, let's talk counters. Almost every hero has one, and for him, it's Namor. He can shred high mobility duelists, making life miserable for divers. So, with nearly 40 heroes at your disposal, each with distinct strengths and weaknesses, there's plenty to explore. If you're new, jump into practice mode and try different roles. You need to find at least one hero in each role that feels right. The sooner you accept that Marvel Rivals is a team game, the better. There's no one hero solution for every match, and sometimes the best move is to switch. Do not be the player who has over 50 hours on a single duelist and refuses to swap, especially when it's clearly not working. Just because you've sunk hours into Moon Knight or Spider-Man doesn't mean switching to Thor to support a solo Venom isn't the better play. Even if you're not as skilled with another hero, a smart switch can have a bigger impact than stubbornly sticking to your main. But in most cases this only applies to competitive. If you're looking to just go into quick play and play whatever feels right to you, I mean, to me, it's fair game. Finally, if you don't know who to main and you're looking to get better at other roles or a specific hero, I'm working on a new series where I go through an in-depth hero spotlight and I do a deep dive on every single hero available on Marvel Rivals. So, if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. Now, let's talk about the unlimited potential when it comes to expanding rosters. All heroes are free as soon as they release, and you can imagine just how easy it is to sell skins to somebody's favorite superhero. This is like Goddamn Bluey or Paw Patrol for adults, and I'm using adults very, very, very lightly here. This game is going to print money like it's nobody's business, and it's 100% here to stay. All you have to do is open up your Twitch, see the people that you're following, and most likely, they have been playing Marvel Rivals. And what a perfect time for this game to arrive as well. There's so much frustration when it comes to live service games where anything that comes out is a reason to get more money out of you. And this game, all things considered, does things in a pretty tame way. They could have very easily asked for money when it comes to new superhero releases, but they didn't, because they knew people would buy the skins. Here's another way of looking at it. Fortnite has over 2,000 skins. At the time of making this video, I was checking, and Spider-Man is sitting at the 42nd most used skin in the entire game. If that doesn't show you everything you need to know, you need to go back to Concord and see if you found a match yet. Natty's real concern right now should only be in keeping the game fresh, adding in new maps or game modes, cause if the numbers start to dip, all they have to do is kind of bring out some A-listers and see those numbers go up. I'm pretty sure everything is set up in the roadmap at this point. If the numbers begin to dip, they'll just bring in Deadpool or Cyclops, throw in some B-listers here and there. If the numbers start to dip again, they can just go back into their goodie bag and bring out Gambit or Nightcrawler, even Ghost Rider. It's impossible to miss here. Perhaps folks don't realize this, but there's over 100 X-Men and I just can't wait to see the Juggernaut rushing through the enemy front line.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Now, if I don't see that man rushing in headfirst like a bulldozer screaming directly at Wanda pressing her one little button, I swear to God I don't know what I'll do. I mean, we won't have to do much as soon as the US kind of gets a hold of the fact that NetEase is a Chinese company. They're done with.
Have you ever been a member of the Chinese Communist Party?
On my side, and I do know that I'm going to get some hate for this, but I really can't wait for them to introduce Madam Web. All in all, and I'm sure a blind man could see this from a mile away, but their main focus right now is 100% the production of skins and assets.
Surrender that gigantic pie.
Now, moving on to the same topic but a different subject, let's focus on Luna, Cloak and Dagger, the Invisible Woman, and Mantis. Victory is all about team duels and whoever can keep their team alive the longest, and if you can just shut the momentum down with the press of one button, it just feels weird. And honestly, the main issue that I have with it is if you're introducing other support characters that don't have equivalent skill sets, you're basically just not gonna see them in competitive play. I'm willing to bet if you ask any of the top 500 players out there if they would rather have Rocket give them a damage boost or see Jeff perform the sloppy 3000 to the enemy team, they would still prefer to simply be invincible. And sure, you have unique ultimates like Adam Warlock that can revive the entire team, but if you can have a teammate that can just stop you from dying, I mean, what's the point? But well, that's all folks. These are just the thoughts and opinions of somebody who cannot wait to start maining Howard the Duck. Until then, I guess I'm hard stuck in bronze, forced to play this game, and it absolutely sucks. Now, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Are you having fun with the game? Who are you maining right now? Who can't you wait for them to introduce into the game? Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. Also, I really enjoy making these videos, so if you think it was worth a watch, feel free to leave me a like and subscribe to the channel. If somehow this wasn't enough and you want to see more of me, you can find me on Twitch at Kaldrost. But that's it for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.